Tim, I think it's awesome that you brought us on to talk about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like, I know we did Ravenous before. You and I did the original Ghostbusters. And, like, I'm just so sick of YouTube putting middle-aged men on my thing telling me how Invincible Shield is the greatest album since 19...
Tonight on Podcast Them Down, we are talking about Judas Priest's new album, Invincible Shield!
God damn it. He did it again.
Hail, Metal Nation! It is I, Tim. This is Invincible Shield. This is also Invincible Shield. That's right. And that is Doug. And that is Matt. And this is Podcast Them Down. And it's fucking time to talk about this fucking amazing album. It was so long.
Damn it.
I had to buy a second copy, but we'll get to that. This is a CD review. I wanted to be clear about that up front, not part of our discography review. This is an album review. Got it?
We're not going to talk about Emily Aline Lynn's yeoman performance as Melody.
Okay. So, as usual, during our CD reviews, we have to fill out all the parts of the spreadsheet because this is Podcasting Down, so it's very spreadsheet centric. So we need to define Judas Priest's genre for the album, Invincible Shield.
Well, yeah, for the album.
For the album
is the operative phrase. Heavy metal.
I'm not hearing any dissent.
It's heavy metal.
You don't want to throw more qualifiers on there? That's fine with me.
We start off with the famous melody from the Rush song Tom Sawyer.
Oh, no. See, the album starts off with this the synth intro thing, then goes into a Dream Theater riff. That sounds exactly like a song from Systematic Chaos. And then it goes into... It gets all nice and heavy, and Panic Attack kicks in, which is another Dream Theater song, by the way. So I think they've been listening to Dream Theater and kind of osmosed a few things into it. It doesn't last after this, the random Dream Theater.
Well, I think this is like, we'll probably talk about this all record, but it's like every era of Judas Priest folded in on itself.
Exactly. That would be my one sentence review of this album. They managed to make it new and yet acknowledge everything they've ever done all at once. So it starts very 80s.
Yeah, very, very, very turbo. And this is a fantastic opening song. The lyrics are kind of dumb. They don't always do great kind of social issues lyrics with their kind of blunt approach.
All right, so the album moves on with The Serpent and the King. I wrote, fuck yes. This is, it's got like a Painkiller era feel, except for the chorus. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. I'm not complaining about it, but it's more primal fearing. The solos are solid. It sounds like they've been listening to everything Ripper's been doing lately.
Yeah, well, I'll say a lot of the lyrics are very like Halford, like the Halford solo projects. And there's sort of like this song and some of the others have Christian allegory.
Where do you get that? Gates of hell, devil in disguise, as God is my witness.
Serpent and the King. And probably the time to talk about this would be like Crown of Horns. But there is this narrative that Halford's kind of getting a messianic complex. Confusing himself for his metal god persona. Admittedly, confusing yourself with God is a fairly metal problem.
I can't argue against that.
This is a good song. Again, Painkiller-esque, and with possibly one exception that we'll get to in a while. Every song on this record, like I've seen people on the internet say this is the best song. This is, one of their best songs of all time, which is quite impressive. But yeah, I don't have too much to say. It's an excellent song. Like most of the songs on this record and most of the songs on the last record, it's short, punchy, to the point.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's very well processed or produced in the sense of like they took their time to make this album because it's been 6 years since the last one, so they clearly didn't just throw this together.
Yeah, and the band is night and day compared to where they were before they started working with Andy Sneap. Not just kind of the production attributes, but commercially too. Like Firepower and Invincible Shield really take the Priest sound back into a broadly accessible, not power metal-y direction, like something that's satisfying to everyone. I've seen it asserted, and this is probably true, they're the first band, commercial signed band to release 2 heavy metal records 50 years
ago.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And they don't, we'll see what they're like live, but they do not sound the least bit tired
to the
on
older
this record.
stuff.
No, they don't.
There's a digital crispness here in the recording where, strangely, parts of it feel fresher and more raw and young than the 70s records. I mean, part of that's technology, but there's an energy here. There's not a slowing down.
It's also Andy Sneap, the producer / guitarist that they brought on. And yeah, this blows all of the other albums just from a production standpoint. It blows new crappy Iron Maiden. Metallica
Right
sounds overproduced, but this sounds
So somehow this is more overproduced, but doesn't feel, it's not distracting.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And then everything is audible. You can hear the bass the entire time, and that's difficult to do and make it sound good.
And I think he's given them a kick in the ass from effort, like making them try and making them do commercial things. And it's like Firepower. They stripped it all down. It was almost kind of groove metal at points, very simple riffing. And now they've reintroduced all the Priest elements and built the sound back up while retaining the super commercial core. So let's jump into Invincible Shield.
I love this song.
Fantastic. The amazing build-up, lyrics that are both fantasy and kind of allegory for adversity in life. All the Priest complexity, great lead work. Really wonderful song and really wonderful title track.
Yeah, from a technical standpoint, the layered vocals are perfect. The choices they made to layer the vocals are really good. The guitar has enough slop that it sounds real, but it doesn't sound sloppy. They didn't take the surgical, exactly perfect take, which if you did that, it makes everything sterile and just not sound live. And this actually sounds alive. And just from a songwriting thing, they get the harmonized leads by the end, which is really, you got these 2/3 fantastic guitarists. I like hearing them use them well, whereas Iron Maiden has 3 guitars and don't know how to use any of them. Let's move on to Devil in Disguise, perhaps.
I mean, another strong opener. It's weird because these are the four tracks. I mean, I agree that Panic Attack is the best opening track, but I could see you starting the album with any of these and being off to a good start. It's again, good energy, good attack. It's just there it is.
Well, if you opened with Invincible Shield, okay, I think it would have been too on the nose and too good right out of the gate. Devil in Disguise goes back into that 80s sound. They got, I forget if it's a phaser or a flanger. There is a difference. And some guitar nerd is going to be so mad that I don't know what it is and I got it wrong. But they did that, and then they got the early 80s Judas Priest kind of groove.
This is almost kind of dirty, rah, 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 rah.
And just in and out, 4 minutes or something.
Yeah, the only thing about this song is he says, "Fran tick, 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 tick." And I'm was that an intentional reference to the Metallica song where he also goes Fran tick, 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 tick?
They are publicly big fans of each other, so I expect it was. But yeah, a nice little nod.
Well, they made that line work better than Metallica did.
Yeah, and it's just kind of occupying the same spot as Evil Never Dies or Neuromancer or Necromancer on the last record. Kind of darker, cartoony dark, but also this allegorical level and very commercial sounding.
I also like the vocal effects. They did a good job filling in all the space. So like, he's a devil, and then it echoes, devil, devil. Yeah, that's I love it when they make good decisions like that. When anyone does. And Judas Priest is the top of the heap, and they're doing it right. And I just, when I hear the examples of when it happens, I got to point it out.
Yeah. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with aggressive recording studio kind of production decisions when it works.
Right. Absolutely.
And you know it when you hear it. So we come to Gates of Hell. I love this song. The lead opening is fantastic. Amazing hooks in the chorus.
Counterpoint. It's not evil enough for the title Gates of Hell. But Judas Priest has done this before. They have like an intense title and then don't really match it in the music. I'm thinking specifically of the 70s albums. But otherwise, it's a great song. It's just, they should have softened the title a little bit. I also like when Rob Halford says purgatory.
And just like we were talking about, my notes, overproduced, question, no. Slick Sheen elevates this type of track. And it absolutely does. And, one of the only criticisms I've ever seen of Andy Sneap, that all Andy Sneap production jobs sound the same, but that's not a critique. If you have one best way, and that's your best answer that applies to
I'd
everything,
call it a benchmark.
Nothing more metal than that. Yeah.
He's doing it how it should be done.
Just load the new config file into your new project. Yeah.
That is the dream.
Yeah, it's a real great song. And we have lyrics are kind of about our world of metal, I have noted.
I really appreciate the solo. Throughout this record, I already mentioned it before, but the songwriting on the solos is good because it's not boring. It's not overly technical, or at least not in a bad way. So they managed to write interesting solos that go somewhere and aren't just like notes.
Yeah, and it's like talk about lucking out / making an amazing choice with Richie Faulkner, who's we're going to be talking about his stuff in a few years when we get to it.
Unless he has another heart attack on stage. His heart exploded during Painkiller, and he finished the song before going to the hospital, where they ironically put him on painkillers, I'm sure.
All right, so we come to, if anything, the most controversial song on the record, Crown of Horns, which is not really a power ballad, but it sort of takes that place.
Yeah, I'd say it's a semi-ballad. It starts with a weird solo for no reason, which again, Judas Priest has done before. So it's not out of the ordinary for them. I think this album needed this right here. It's a nice change of pace and mood right where it needs to be to keep you engaged in listening to the whole thing.
Well, I mean, I was just kind of disappointed
I agree.
that there wasn't enough
going back to the lyrics
in it.
Go ahead, Matt.
I wanted like a Chicago big horn break in it, just to play around with the title. And I was disappointed that didn't happen. I think you could make it work, like some orchestral thing, something.
So Doug, people like I haven't heard the controversy about this song, but I really like the chorus.
Yeah, I'll
like,
say.
What's not to like about this song? I mean, it's a change of pace. It's sort of ballady.
I would say the messianic tendencies I've kind of referenced earlier. Because
I didn't read the lyrics.
A crown of horns, like he's kind of putting himself on the cross a bit, or putting metal on the cross.
This is just standard metal fare to me. I don't see what the big deal is.
I was going to say with the other thing about the lyrics, and this is a good song. Like I think in the 72 Seasons review, I talk about how to me metal is kind of a lark, right? In terms of lyrics, like I don't listen to metal typically for a deep emotional connection or because I'm trying to echo things I'm dealing with. But I remember seeing when they first put up the video, like the YouTube comments were like, "Thank you, Judas Priest. My father died 5 years ago today, and I was thinking of ending it. And then I got this song and I cried, and I feel so good now. Thank you, Judas Priest. And like you see comments like that on all these songs. Priest, these big bands, even if like what I say is true of a lot of metalheads, and I don't take that as a given, like the hard rock audience really finds meaning in this stuff. And this kind of song, it would seem like especially. So good job, Judas Priest.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I have nothing bad to say about this song. Okay, next track, As God Is My Witness.
Well, we open with the opening bit from Weather Rebel, basically.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
We do.
And I really get Primal Fear vibes on this one.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing, but yeah.
There's in this song, there's a great bridge because the between the leads and the vocals like shift gears into this even higher energy. Like it starts off heavy, but then it just goes to this other level. And then towards the end of the song, they switch to a triplet feel, which is like the whole song is just straight 16ths. But then when they go to the triplets, it's just like, yeah, they squeezed everything they could out of the juice of the songwriting here. And I think this song works great.
I have one significant quibble.
I mean, yeah, but
the song is fantastic. Yeah,
but the title lyrics doesn't sit right with me.
Unless this is some like British thing, the phrase is "God as my witness." That's what people say, not "as God is my witness." Exactly.
Are you Googling the phrase, Matt?
I am, because it's interesting. There's a Kenny Rogers song also called "As God Is My Witness." There seems to be two variants. One is "With God as my witness." The other is "As God is my witness." So the is the one that appears in Gone with the Wind, for example.
I have a sort of false memory, or I've heard the "with" taken off, and it's sort of stated shortened.
It's very interesting.
Anything else on this?
Yeah, again, we talk about these commercial lyrics that are both metal and like you can see how people connect them to their own struggles in life. And there's some really defiance makes me climb the highest mountain to freely breathe the air that I demand. If I can crush the nightmares of oblivion, the tide will turn and bring me back to land. Like that's both metal as shit and something like you can apply to your own life.
Next song, Trial by Fire. I feel like I've heard this intro before where it's like they fade in with like kind of guitar tapping something, you know, but then it kicks in 3/4, which I think is odd for Judas Priest. And it took me a minute to like right off the bat, you know, something's different. Just from the way the drums are accenting things. So went back, counted it in 3/4 or 6/8, however you want to look at it. And but by the time it gets to the chorus where it says basically they're playing, the band hits a note in tacits, and Halford goes, "Trial by fire." Oh, yes. It's like I keep thinking they've used all their tricks. And I'm waiting for the song that swings and misses, but they keep hitting dingers. So I love this song. This is a great song.
And just overperformed in a way that's generous to the audience, which totally is. And again, when we're talking about the lyrical tricks, this is one of the ones that's sort of more purely telling a story. But still in a way that's very relatable to the adversities you're feeling in your own life. There's knocked it out of the park yet again.
All right, so then Escape from Reality comes.
Totally new vibe for this record. It's very like Dehumanizer era Sabbath.
Yeah, so here is where they hit a foul tip for me. I don't think the clean guitar works in in the verse. So in the verse, it's going like, but there's like this clean guitar, and maybe it's just the chord choices they made. I don't think it works. If they just muted that channel, I think the song might be better. The chorus, if you told me this was Primal Fear, I'd believe you. But like one of the lesser Primal Fear albums.
But then you get that bridge part where he's doing his best Ozzy Osbourne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which they've done before, back in the 70s, trying to be Sabbathy. Yeah, and it's definitely, the bridge definitely has a Ozzy Osbourne solo.
Yeah,
early
more
80s
solo than Sabbath. Yeah,
feel to it. Yeah. Oh, and I wrote
does,
in my notes, Phaser on vocals, weird, and sounds like Ozzy frowny face.
remember that time we saw Halford and Ozzy?
Yes.
Yeah, and he opened with the video of him just saying profane things intercut with pop culture scenes, and all the gas station attendants from Essex and Dundalk were eating that up.
Man.
Oh, this is so good.
Yeah, so this is the first song where I go, uh-oh. It's not bad. It's just nowhere near as good as anything that preceded it, which, as I said, all were 10 out of 10s, you know?
Yeah, I like it. They even on their more recent records, they have a history of a couple of more doomy songs. I mean that in a more commercial doom Sabbath sense.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with them trying something out, as long as I don't like it when Anathema is a perfect example. They tried something out for The Optimist and it didn't work at all, but it lasted the whole album, so the whole album is unlistenable. Which
one was it? Morbid Angel, who did the industrial metal album in like 2011?
It was whatever album I was. It was terrible. So the next song, Sons of Thunder, wants to be a Hammerfall song. I think it's about riding motorcycles at night, which is probably the least safe time to ride motorcycles. But then again, you are living after midnight.
Yeah,
that's when, and you need to get to and from places.
Yeah, and they do the Accept style gang chorus, which sounds great. And it's not the first time they've done it, but yeah, yet another good song. Now, this song and Giants in the Sky, Tom Allom co-produced. He was the guy who did all of their 80s records and was credited as a co-producer on Firepower, which may explain why this sounds like a Firepower song, like super stripped down.
Well, but it doesn't explain the... I was going to say album closer, but it depends on how you look at it. It doesn't explain Giants in the Sky.
Mm-hmm.
A remembrance to our fallen rock giants.
This song sounds downtuned, but I don't know if it actually is. Oh, and there's such a weird... He says Spanish. Never be forgot. That's wrong, right? It's forgotten, isn't it? Never be forgotten?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a British thing.
Yeah, the chorus in this is great. I was just about to get to the interlude. Is that what you're talking about? In the middle, when suddenly an acoustic comes in. And then there is a clean guitar solo. As I was listening to this, I was like, why is this song last? This song doesn't need to be last. You know, it doesn't sound like a closer. It sounds like a brief, like catch your breath, and then we're gonna hit you with the album closer. But then the end justifies its position on the CD. It's got the drawn out finale ending of the song, and drum fills, and then Halford screaming, and.
But they've learned their lesson. This is the Loch Ness territory, but they get in and out in less than 6 minutes.
Just a little over 5. Okay, so that is the end of the CD, unless you bought it at Target. So, the first of the bonus tracks, which we consider canon.
Do we? I think we discussed them. I think we can't. Well,
oh yeah, are they canon? That's a good question.
I was just gonna steamroll it and hope it would. I like it when bands do this. Perfect example. Demons and Wizards put out the second album, and then
Yeah,
had all
okay.
these bonus tracks that were better than a lot of the songs on the album.
And that Priest has done this before, and it really bothered me then. But on the 2014 one, Redeemer of Souls, they just if you bought the deluxe version, you got an extra. It was either 6 songs, 5, 6, 7 songs, all of which they're maybe a tad more commercial, maybe a tad more 80s, but it's just like they didn't make up their mind on the track order or even the tracking of the record. It's like, oh, here, you make up your own mind. And it kind of annoyed me then. Any of these songs could have been on the record. Maybe they are on the record.
No, I think if they're contrary to my definitive statement earlier, I think they don't count as being on the album. I don't know where they would fit well. Not all of them. Fight of Your Life in particular, because it has this weird bridge part.
And we should note this is Fight of Your Life.
Oh,
different from Fight for Your Life,
Very
which
good.
Was the original version of Rock Hard Ride Free, and I think we'll hear that on Killing Machine.
It's mostly a good song. I can kind of see there's some of the vocal deliveries aren't as solid as the rest of the album. Some of the song choices are a little less perfect as the rest of the album.
I don't know the technical term, but I really like it when they like pull the note down in the opening. Dun, dun, dun. I forget the part. It's very like hard rock. It sounds like the riff to American Truck Simulator. It's like
yeah.
I think it's a guitar, but yeah,
that is called something. I don't know what it's called. Okay. Vicious Circle is the second bonus track. I like this one. It's I know what I'm trying to say. It's got kind of that dirtiness to it.
And it's got the more sort of interpersonal adversity type lyrics that, again, I think make this record broadly commercial and sit well. I do think this is the slightest song on the record. Like, I have no issue with it. But very like a pro forma lead break.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this could have made it. You could have slipped this on in the record, and it would have been fine. But maybe they didn't want 2 short songs, you know? Yeah,
exactly 3 minutes.
Okay, and then finally, The Lodger. This one's weird.
So I thought it was a bonus track.
There is some backstory. So as we know, part of the code of metal is you write your own stuff, except Priest is so metal, sometimes they don't. And take these chains on Screaming for Vengeance. Some heads are going to roll. And I think this guy, Bruce Halligan Jr., wrote those 2 songs. And this is a song left over from the 80s that they recorded. I'm assuming it was probably like commissioned the same way for the Twin Turbos sessions, hence the synthy feel.
Okay, that makes sense.
I do like it, but it's different and not in a way that maybe would justify including it on the record. Like, it's not that good, but we got these pulpy lyrics about a man who's stalking the killer of his sister.
That's pretty metal. That chorus is just weird, though. It's very un-Judas Priest.
Yeah, there's something about it that feels off to me. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
I do like the line, "Vengeance is mine," said the lodger.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I almost like the awkwardness of the lyrics. Like,
I think it's the word lodger.
It is sort of a outdated way of saying whatever they were trying to say.
All right. That's all the music. Let's score the music. I don't want to go first.
Jesus.
I will if I have to, though.
I have to be the middle-aged man.
You got to be
how this is the greatest record since 2005 or 1990 or 1984. This is their best record in a long time, probably since the start of the comeback in 2005 at least. And I think if you like the more commercial Judas Priest sound, this might even exceed Painkiller to you. Jesus, that's a statement. I'm going to start with 10.
10.
I
Wow.
wrote down my scores so before you gave yours, so it wouldn't be I couldn't change it after you gave yours. So this is so how about Matt? Maybe you should go.
Okay, I'll go. I mean, this is a very well made record. I like almost all of it. It's certainly refreshing to hear. So many bands even younger than this have just faded out into shitty recorddom. I can't give this a 10. I will give this a 9.5.
Oh, well, turns out I split the difference at 9.8. It gets an A plus.
It's an A, yeah. Probably an A plus on the curve.
Yeah, they're pretty. It's almost a flawless record. Okay, presentation. So, in terms of presentation, I don't love the cover except the colors. It's very vibrant. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's nothing going on. The shield is blocking something from behind it, which is not how you use a shield.
That's a great point.
I love how people don't like this cover, and that makes me love it.
Well, but I like the design, but this should be the back of the CD.
Yeah, we'll, once we're done with the cover, talk about the rest of the art. Yeah. I kind of like the affronting, blunt nature of it, and they revived the weird tribal Judas Priest symbol from the Revolution single 20 years ago.
Yeah. It reminds me of when Anthrax had that pentagram that made an A. I liked that.
Yeah, and so the artist is Mark Wilkinson, who's done all of their covers with only a couple exceptions since Ram It Down, and he did the last two Maiden records as well, and other work for Maiden. But his actual background outside of Priest is like prog. And he was this is all digital now, but he was a airbrush guy, especially. So he's always gotten this vibrancy and can do psychedelic type stuff quite well. And yeah, I probably not his choice to depict a shield smashing the lens, but for what he's tasked with, it knocks it out of the park.
Yeah. So the back of the CD, kind of boring. It's a night angel holding a shield, a sword, and no invincible shield, and there are sparks flying off the.
He's thrown the shield. It's like his shield is occupied.
Yeah, and he's got long flowing hair coming out of his helmet. He does have the Judas Priest symbol on the forehead of his mask helmet thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. It's just like, okay, whatever. And then inside, now I'm holding the scourge of my CD collection, and that is a digipack. So this is the digipack. Inside, there's a snake. So I guess that's the serpent. And then instead of the king, they doubled down on that tribal symbol thing.
Judas Priest trident.
Yeah, and then the booklet is just like wall-to-wall lyrics, covers up all the artwork.
See, I haven't opened this crap.
Yeah. So when Doug found out I got this, he goes, "Oh, you didn't get the Target one?" I was like, "What do you mean the Target one?" Yeah, you could pay extra and go, you could go to a Target store where they have this nice booklet one. Still no jewel case version, which is really what I want. This is way better than the digipack. So I will let you go through the art inside the booklet where stuff is less covered up by the lyrics in the layout.
Yeah. Well, I think we, as a podcast, broadly advocate for a picture per song. You don't have to do it, but it's a nice touch.
It's appreciated.
We do get that, and we get this nice sort of Crusader art tied with the Invincible Shield theme, the credits. So Panic Attack, we do get, it looks like imagery from Doctor Who. Like
I
the
was thinking-
Auton episode.
Yep.
I was thinking it's awfully close to just being zombie artwork,
It looks like David Tennant in the center here, and then it looks like the Hammerfall singer, and then on the other page that looks kind of like the Camelot singer.
It does.
Could it be them?
And then Serpent and the King, we get the serpent on one page and the king on the other. Pretty good.
All right. Straightforward.
And it's kind of a wicked Prague king.
or like Ed Guy or something.
Yeah. Ed Guy,
But since I brought them up, fuck Tobias Sammet. All right. Invincible Shield, you got your Invincible Shield.
Mhm.
Okay.
No notes.
Yeah.
Devil in disguise.
Now,
we do get a devil. He's
this is
wearing
not
a
a
fancy
disguise.
suit, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
call him in disguise, but
All right. Well, Gates of Hell, I love it when they go literal. So Gates of Hell has a demon with wings standing in front of some gates.
yeah. No notes.
Okay, points off for Crown of Horns where there's no crown of horns.
We just get Jesus in modern clothes parting the skies above some kind of Blade Runner-esque
If
city.
that is indeed Jesus and not the dude from The Big Lebowski, I appreciate that Jesus is wearing boots, jeans, and a leather jacket. That's pretty metal.
God as my witness, we get a warrior angel in armor.
Okay.
Gabriel-esque.
No notes.
Fine. Straightforward.
Trial by fire. That's a very commercial image of a person.
This looks like a bad late 90s action movie poster. I do like the artwork for Escape from Reality.
Great artwork. And then Sons of Thunder. This looks
Yeah.
like, what's that the Metallica movie?
Oh, yeah, it does. It's from
Through the Never?
Yeah. Where the roadie has to go get like Lars and Evian or something. I forget what it was.
Oh man, Giants in the Sky. It's some kind of like golden age of science fiction styled art.
Yeah, it's like War of the Worlds type deal, but not really. And then for the bonus tracks, they just kind of punted it.
There is a lodger, sort of, or a
Yeah, I'm assuming that is the lodger. Vicious Circle, they just like ran the contour filter on their tribal thing.
that's kind of a circle, whatever.
Yep. There is and then the rest is pretty much the same, but there is a comic booky version of the Invincible Shield in the inside cover here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's worth the extra money to not have a digipack and to have and be able to see all the art.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of different vinyl versions of this, and I think like one of the 7 of them has the bonus tracks. Most of them are just alternate versions of the cover, and I doubt these are band decisions. Just as I don't think it's the band who made us go to Target.
Well, I'll tell you the worst iteration of this is Demons and Wizards Bring Them Up Again. 3, their third album, the one right before that came out right before a certain someone did a certain something.
They got canceled. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You could get, so it was a monochrome cover and the main version was blue, but he was selling, you could get the red one, get the purple one, get the green one. And they were all on different vinyls and it was so dumb. There was literally the only difference in the art was the color. That's it. I'm hoping Judas Priest for their vinyls changed more than maybe.
I hate to say it, I don't think they did. When it was so surreal, and I'm sure the kids now this is completely normal. But you go to the Judas Priest page and there's like 5 different vinyls, and then it's like a limited edition red cassette. It's like, oh yeah, and a CD, and that's like the 8th option to buy the record. If you really want it to sound good, sure.
Oh yeah, okay. The vinyl covers are slightly more effort than that. So if you buy like the pink vinyl, the fire around the shield is pinker, but it's not just a matter of rotating the hue. It looks like it's just the colors that are changed, but it's not heavy-handed. Here's the blue one, you know.
Yeah, and I do
$20 for this album on cassette. Fuck that.
Wow,
man. People want cassettes now. It's crazy.
Why? They haven't made a good cassette player since the 90s.
Your dad had a cassette, you know.
Yeah, that was
whatever.
a professional one made in the 90s. And I have it now, and it's a Denon, and it was made for broadcast, and it's great.
I'm taking 1 point off our score for the Panic Attack video.
I didn't watch that.
Priest does this thing. They did it for Revolution too, where they just they take live footage and they cut it to a new song that isn't the song they're performing and try and fake it. And I hate that.
Any other deductions from the presentation before we give our presentation scores?
No.
Okay.
No deductions from me.
If the only available copy was the Digipack, I would crush this thing so far down, but I'm liking the book. I'm going to give the presentation an 8.5.
Yeah, I can live with that.
The problem with the book is still like you still have that sleeve that the CD goes in, and that's just begging for it to get some dust in it and get scratched up going in and out. You know, it's not a good design. Stop doing it. All right, presentation score, Doug and Matt.
I'm going with 8.5.
Like you, I don't really like digipacks. I like the little bookie guy. Why can't they all be the little bookie guy? 8.
Okay, trueness / metal score, without hesitation, it's a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 10. Sorry.
you put the 10 in the wrong spot.
Trying to
There
be
you go.
contrarian, but it's a goddamn 10.
Well,
Wow, we have I didn't think the tier CD would have been remotely beaten, but
Right. No,
it happened.
it had a very short reign at the top.
Yep. Yep. Excellent. All right. Well,
are we sharing the scores this year?
Nope.
are
Or
we?
is
I
that
don't
for
know.
a Patreon?
That's for Patreons only.
Well, how about this? I'll share a different album's score. So Ministry Hopium for the Masses got a 5.92 overall score.
And this got nearly twice that.
Nearly twice that. All right. Anything else before we ride our motorcycles into the night because we're Sons of Thunder or whatever.
Can we talk about fucking Frozen Empire now?
Mm-hmm.
All right, until next time, Metal Nation, make sure your shield is invincible.
Cast them down.
And if you're riding your motorcycle at night, please wear a helmet and use your headlight.
That's fair.
Remember that thing in Pennsylvania law where you only had to wear a helmet if you had a motorcycle license, but you could legally ride a motorcycle without a license? I think they fixed that loophole, but that was a real thing.